She was forced to wash dishes at the party, but what they discovered about her life was incredible. Lily stood by the sink, hands submerged in a soapy cascade of bubbles, her heart racing with a mix of indignation and disbelief. Here she was, in the grand estate of the richest family in town, reduced to a mere dishwasher while the elite sipped champagne in the garden, blaring laughter that echoed against the affluent walls. She was supposed to be celebrating the annual community gathering, not scrubbing the remnants of gourmet meals from ceramic dishes, but as she scrubbed, gritted teeth and all, a sense of fate washed over her. Across the kitchen, old veterans, gentle souls in weathered hats, were laughing, sharing stories of yesterdays filled with valor and loss. Their deep chuckles cut through Lily's irritation like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. She found herself drawn to their camaraderie, the warmth of their laughter tugging at her own weary heart. "Funny thing about war," one of them said, wiping a tear from laughter. "You grow old, but you never forget the night spent sharing beans under the stars." Lily smiled, resonating with the nostalgia that filled the air. She had dreams once, lofty ambitions that twinkled brightly like stars. What happened to them? In the midst of the clattering dishes and laughter of her new companions, Lily shared her own story. "I was going to be a doctor, you know. Then life happened." Her voice wavered slightly as she spoke of returning home to care for her ailing mother, of how those dreams dimmed like a flickering candle when she became a caregiver instead. But of course, they didn't know that her son, only 8, struggled daily with his own battles, a relentless enemy named diabetes. The weight of it all pressed against her chest like a tight band. Then she heard snippets from the dining room, conversations laced with judgments, hints of entitlement like the expensive fabrics they wore. "Can you believe she was dressed like that?" floated through the air, tinged with disdain. It hit hard. Each whispered word clanged against her hope. They painted her life with strokes of dismissiveness, ignorant of the love coursing through her veins for her son's battles. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With a deep breath, she stood up straight, letting the cool evening air fill her lungs. There was no reason to hide. She had a voice. "You think you know worth," she started, breaking through the comfortable chatter with her raw honesty. The kitchen fell silent, eyes turning toward her as she spoke of dreams deferred, the sense of her past colliding with the present. As Lily poured her heart out, the tension shifted. Realizations flickered in the eyes of the affluent guests, questioning their own entitlement. Easing away the shallow judgments, she was planting seeds of gratitude, empathy blooming in the quiet, their faces transforming from condescension into contemplation. But just as respect started to blossom, a whisper of uncertainty floated through the air. Would this moment last, or would the old biases resurface when the night faded into shadows? The answer hung in the balance, a fragile moment of transformation that left the town on the brink of an emotional awakening. Lily's truth loomed large, a beacon of hope amidst the tangled web of social barriers, waiting to unveil what came next. Lily noticed the shifting dynamics in the kitchen, how the laughter faded into a respectful silence, broken only by the soft clink of glasses from the dining room. For a moment, her heart fluttered, alive with the possibility that her words had made an impact. Maybe she could bridge the gap between their worlds. But then the breeze carried another faint sound from the gathering, an aristocrat laughing loudly, relishing a joke. "I suppose for every one of us, there must be 10 like her, doing the work no one else wants to do," he said. It broke her heart. The disrespect hung heavy in the air, making it hard to breathe. Was this how they saw her? As a number? Did her struggles mean so little? She took a step back from the sink, hands still wet, scrubbing away the remnants of their indulgence. It felt almost like washing away her own identity, as if the soap bubbles encased all her aspirations along with the grime. Yet, Just then, she caught the eyes of one of the veterans, an elderly man with kind blue eyes, who had remained silent during her vulnerable moment. He nodded slightly, as if to say he understood. In that single moment, she felt a flicker of hope, the kind that ignites when someone bears witness to your truth. "Let me tell you a story," he said, his voice calm and sturdy like the oak tree under which he had likely spent many childhood summers. "I once knew a woman just like you. She spent her life caring for others, and everyone underestimated her. But one day, when a crisis hit our community, it was she who organized everyone, rallied resources, and saved lives. Never underestimate the power embedded in those who serve." His words wrapped around Lily, a comforting embrace, igniting her spirit. The tension in the kitchen began to shift again, movement sparking like electricity in the air. Others leaned in, drawn to the warmth of the veteran's words. Maybe this was her moment to reclaim a fragment of her identity, to stand as a representation of every unheard voice in that room. "Power lies in experience," Lily spoke up again, her voice steadier now. "In every sacrifice, every struggle, it creates something beautifully resilient." She found herself sharing more how she had learned to negotiate with the health insurance companies, how she concocted sugar-free treats to keep her son happy. Each word pulled her listeners further into her reality, the beauty of persistence and hope standing strong against hardship. But then, from the back of the kitchen, a younger party guest, a fresh-faced woman in a designer dress, snorted derisively. "How poetic. But you're missing the reality. Why not just accept your place? Isn't that how it's always been?" The laughter resumed from the dining room, but this time it felt heavier, coated with ignorance barriers that loomed larger than before. Lily felt the room tense again. She wasn't just fighting for herself now, she was fighting for all the women, all the unseen laborers with families, dreams, and stories of their own. "You're wrong," she shot back, her voice fierce. "This isn't a choice about place, it's about lifting the veil on our worth, demanding to be seen and acknowledged." Silence enveloped the kitchen. Everyone held their breath. Could it truly start to change here, tonight? The tender moment of vulnerability had turned electric, like a storm brewing on the horizon. Would solidarity triumph over snobbery, or would the world retreat into the comfortable shadows of privilege once more? A push from both sides loomed. Lily had ignited a fire, but the winds of change were still unsteady. As their eyes met, she wondered, could people really break down barriers, even if it meant stepping into vulnerability themselves? What would happen if they all joined forces, casting aside their preconceived notions? In the throes of uncertainty, she dared to hope, but would they take the leap? The night felt pregnant with potential, and as the conversation hung in the air, the bell tolled for more than just the hour. It seemed to signal a moment that could change everything. What would happen next, as the layers of their lives began to unfold like petals in bloom? The kitchen felt charged, like a wire ready to spark. Lily's heart raced as she watched the young woman, who had challenged her, crossing her arms defiantly. There was a moment, a split second, when she thought the laughter would die down, that maybe they would listen. But the back door of opportunity remained ajar, and she needed to push through. "Look, we're not here to be invisible," Lily said, her voice steady but passionate. "Every plate I wash, every meal I prepare, every moment I spend caring for someone, it matters. It's time you realize that." The veteran's eyes twinkled with encouragement. He leaned against the counter, appearing more like a mentor than an old man. Others in the kitchen began to murmur, their expressions shifting from disbelief to contemplation. Was it possible for them to see beyond the surface, to recognize the humanity beneath their polished facades? Among the crowd, a breakdown was happening. A woman with a gentle smile and an apron smeared with flour took a step toward Lily. "You're right. My mother did what you're doing. She raised us and cooked for us, but she taught us to dream too. She was our rock." "Exactly," Lily exclaimed, the warmth of solidarity wrapping around her like a comforting blanket. "It's not just about the physical efforts, it's about the emotional labor too. We build families, we support dreams. That's our worth." The young woman in the designer dress rolled her eyes but didn't retort this time. The air grew thicker with realization, and the laughter from the dining room sounded a little more distant. A man from the corner, mildly on the older side, chimed in. My sister used to be a waitress. Everyone treated her like she was less than them. But when I got sick, she was the one who stepped up. She held everything together while we were falling apart. You're right, they're worth isn't defined by their job. Lily nodded vigorously, feeling the momentum shift. It's time to lift each other up. No matter our backgrounds, we all have stories and struggles. We can change perceptions. Just then, the elderly veteran cleared his throat, gaining everyone's attention again. We all carry burdens in life. Every one of us has encountered barriers. We must choose to see each other and not just the roles we play. Hope swelled in Lily's chest. She could feel the connection growing. It wasn't just her speaking anymore, it was a chorus of voices. The voices of all the unseen workers, the caretakers, and the family anchors. But before she could reignite that fire, the designer-dressed woman stepped back, shaking her head as if dismissing the whole conversation. You're dreaming, she said, a hint of mockery in her tone. Do you really think a group of kitchen workers can change the world? Why not? Lily replied sharply, her heart pounding. Why can't we start right here and now? Change begins with a conversation. We can't just accept boundaries, we have to break them. The tension thickened again. This was their crossroads, and Lily felt the crowd's anticipation. Eyes locked on her, there was a growing sense of urgency. It dawned on her that maybe, just maybe, they could push forward. Together, but as the silence lingered, something shifted. The sound of glass shattering echoed from the dining room, and the laughter turned to gasps. Suddenly, all eyes turned to the doorway, where a small commotion began to unfold. What could be happening? Lily's heart raced again with curiosity and fear, wondering if it was going to pull them apart or offer a chance to unite. In this moment, the stakes felt unreal. Could the chaos from the dining room shake loose more than just their assumptions? Would it unveil something deeper, something that could intertwine their lives in ways they never imagined? As they all stood on the brink, nothing felt certain. But deep down, Lily knew they were about to face a turning point, for better or worse. What would come next in the wake of that shattering glass? The sharp crack of glass shattered the air like a thunderclap. Gasps erupted from the gathered crowd, and the tension turned electric. Lily felt her heart race as all eyes snapped toward the doorway. Shadows flickered against the bright kitchen lights as people shifted to get a better look. What just happened? Someone whispered, tension lacing their voice. The young woman in the designer dress stepped back, a mixture of shock and annoyance playing across her face. Lily could see her tightening her grip on a pile of napkins, her earlier bravado disappearing like steam in the air. Then, as if orchestrated, a few staff members rushed in from the dining room, their faces pale, eyes wide with distress. One of them broke away, hurrying toward the counter where Lily stood, urgency in every movement. It's Mia, he gasped, struggling to catch his breath. She slipped. There's glass everywhere. Mia. Lily's heart sank. Mia, the shy dishwasher whose laughter had always been a background melody in the kitchen. Lily could feel the collective breath of the crowd hitch in unison. Fear had a way of binding people together, and it was palpable now. Is she okay? Lily asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The staff member shook his head, running a hand through his hair. I don't know. They're trying to help her. But... He turned his gaze toward Lily, desperation creeping into his eyes. She needs us. Lily took in the stunned faces around her. They had all been caught in an argument about worth, about dignity, and now the very person who embodied those values lay vulnerable, possibly hurt. Let us go, Lily urged, stepping forward. We can help. Without hesitation, she dashed toward the doorway, the crowd parting for her, as if she had become a beacon. The warm kitchen air was replaced by the coolness from the dining area as they burst through. The sight before them was chaotic. Mia lay on the floor, clutching her arm, a few shards of glass glinting ominously near her. The chaotic hum of conversation flooded the room. Guests gawked, unsure whether to intervene or simply watch. It was heartbreaking and maddening all at once. "Mia!" Lily called out, crouching beside her. "Stay with me. You're going to be okay. Can someone get a first aid kit?" A voice shouted back, "I'll do it." As the scene unfolded, Lily looked into Mia's eyes, filled with pain but also something deeper, something unspoken. "Mia, you're so strong. Just focus on me, all right?" Mia winced but nodded, tears gathering at the corners of her eyes. "See? We're all here for you," Lily added, glancing back at the group flooding into the dining room. She could see the weariness giving way to determination. The same people who had listened and shared their stories were now rallying around Mia, a teeming, diverse community taking shape right before her. The young woman in the designer dress knelt down, her earlier cynicism swept away. "I have bandages in my purse. Let me help." Lily's heart swelled with the unexpected shift. They weren't just kitchen workers or patrons anymore, they were human beings bound by compassion. In that moment, they were a family. As Mia smiled through her pain, something inside Lily shifted too. Maybe this chaos wouldn't shatter their fragile progress. Perhaps it was the catalyst they all needed to bridge the gaps, to see each other more clearly. But just as they began to band together, the shrill sound of sirens wailed outside. That unmistakable tone jolted everyone to the present. Panic danced in the air as murmurs of "Is that for us?" echoed through the crowd. What will happen when the paramedics arrive? Will they recognize the strength of this newly formed bond, or will it all come crashing down once more? Would today's chaos finally become the turning point Lily had hoped for? The sirens grew louder, slicing through the atmosphere thick with worry and anticipation. The crowd shifted uneasily, eyes darting toward the doors as if expecting the paramedics to burst in at any moment. Lily squeezed Mia's hand gently, feeling the pulse of fear beneath her skin. "Just breathe, Mia. You're doing so well," she murmured, trying to anchor both of them amidst the chaos. As she spoke, she caught sight of the designer dress woman, the one who had seemed so distant and wrapped up in her own world not long ago. Now, the look of concern on her face was unmistakable. "Hang in there," the woman whispered to Mia, her voice surprisingly gentle. She tore open the bandage wrapper with shaky hands, breathing heavily as she prepared to assist. Lily's heart warmed at the sight. It was like watching a flower bloom in harsh weather. This woman, once so consumed by her own anxieties, was now rising to the occasion. It made Lily realize how a single moment could shift everything. The bonds they had shared in that kitchen, the laughter and the struggles, they were now wrapped up in a common goal. Moments felt like hours as a small crowd began to form around them. Concerned faces leaned in, ready to provide whatever support they could. Someone fetched a chair, making room for Mia while others tried to keep a coherent flow of information. "He needs to get here fast, she's losing too much blood." A voice rose from the back of the throng, panic underscoring the desperation. "No, I'm okay," Mia breathed, though the tremor in her voice betrayed her. "Really, I'm okay." But Lily could see the flicker of fear in Mia's eyes. "Mia, listen to me. Just let them take care of you. You don't have to be strong right now." As if on cue, the paramedics arrived, bursting through the dining room doors. The calm authority of their presence was a welcome relief. They immediately assessed the situation, but Lily couldn't shake the unease that filled the air. "Who's in charge?" one of the officers asked, scanning the scene. "I am," Lily replied without hesitation, stepping forward with determination. Mia slipped and fell. "She's cut and needs help." The medic nodded, moving quickly to kneel beside Mia. "Let us have a look, sweetheart. We're going to take good care of you." While they worked, Lily stole glances at the crowd surrounding them. Those who had worried over status and position were now collectively holding their breath, unified in their concern for one simple life. It didn't matter who made the salads or who was wearing designer shoes. It was an awe-inspiring moment, a reminder of what truly held them together. As the paramedics cleaned Mia's wounds, a wave of relief washed over Lily. The chaos was slowly fading into something more impactful, more meaningful. She could see Mia's breathing steady, and the tears that had been born of fear because of the situation now reflected gratitude. But just as hope seemed to settle in, a familiar voice echoed through the hall. "This is ridiculous. Someone could get hurt, and I won't have my event ruined over a simple accident." Lily turned, recognizing the sharp tone as belonging to the event planner, who was now storming into the dining area, her perfectly coiffed hair bobbing behind her like a flag of distress. Lily felt her heart race anew, not from fear but from anger. How could someone be so blind? It was a new type of chaos threatening to tear apart the fragile unity they had just built. What will it take for her to realize what truly matters? Lily thought, lips pressed into a thin line as she faced the oncoming storm. With Mia in need of help and a new battle looming, would Lily be able to cope with the challenge ahead? Lily's eyes narrowed as she watched the event planner marching toward them, her heels clicking sharply against the floor like a metronome counting down to chaos. "This isn't the time for your overreactions." Lily snapped, her voice rising to cut through the tension that swirled in the air. The planner stopped, taken aback, yet her irritation burned behind her designer sunglasses. "You think this is about the accident?" she asked, incredulous. "It's about the event. We're on a tight schedule, and I can't afford delays. Do you hear yourself?" Lily shot back, struggling to rein in her emotions. "This isn't just an event to celebrate. There's a person in need of help right now." A hush fell over the crowd. The murmurs of shock rippled through them like a wave. The planner opened her mouth to rebut, but no words came as she glanced around, finally seeing the worried faces of guests, the laughter from earlier replaced by concern. Mia winced, her voice breaking through the silence. "I'm okay, I promise." Yet the shaky breaths betrayed more than mere words. The medic's deft hands moved swiftly, applying sterile dressings. "Mia, you're going to be fine, but we need to keep you calm. Just take deep breaths," he reassured, his eyes full of kindness. Lily felt a knot of tension release. They had a chance. They could focus on Mia. But would that be enough to pull everyone back from the brink of misunderstanding and judgment? Lily turned her attention back to the event planner, who stood with her arms crossed, still reluctant to show even a hint of empathy. People can be so caught up in their own world, she considered, not for the first time wondering about the moments they chose to view others' pain as inconvenience rather than opportunity for connection. "Can't you see? We're all shaken up," a voice in the crowd finally rang out, breaking the stillness. "Why aren't you supporting her? This is bigger than the party." Nods of agreement followed, as people began to voice their mounting frustration. The planner's facade faltered. Compassion seemed foreign to her, yet something about Lily's fervent defense breathed new life into the crowd. They were together in this, an unexpected alliance formed by fear, kindness, and the urgency to support someone in need. "Stand with her," Lily urged the people gathered. "Support her because this isn't just about a party. It's about caring for one another even in the messiest of moments." Murmurs of agreement echoed around her. A few people stepped closer to Mia, forming a human barrier against the planner's icy demeanor. Others encouraged her with pats on the back and silent reassurances. "Get your act together." Someone called to the planner. "You should be supporting her, not worrying about appetizers." The event planner's expression flickered, a mix of surprise and a tightening of her jaw. She took a step backward, reeling from the united front that now stood against her. Did she feel the shared energy of concern wrapping around her? Did she realize that trust and compassion didn't need the constraints of a beautifully arranged event? In that moment of collective empathy, Lily's heart soared. It was a reminder community mattered. Together, their voices could ring louder than any singular force that sought to break them apart, but while hope blossomed, another voice cut through the moment. We need to leave. This is unacceptable. A man spat, breaking the solidarity. Lily's heart sank. Would they let one angry echo undermine their unity? Would they crumble back into fear and division? As the tension heightens again, she stood firm, ready to protect the connections they had just built, fully aware that this battle was far from over. What would come next as they fought to reclaim humanity in a moment tainted with chaos? The crowd stirred, whispers weaving through the air like a sudden chill. Anger brewed in the man's voice, but it was the panic on Mia's face that struck Lily like a lightning bolt. No, we can't leave. Not now, Lily urged, her voice trembling but fierce. She stepped forward, scanning the crowd for any signs of support. What if something worse happens to her? Another voice, a woman now, broke in. We can't just walk away, can we? Lily felt the surge of hope again as she met the woman's eyes. They were moments away from something profound. They were all tethered to each other now, to Mia and to this shared moment that challenged their individual facades. The planner stood silent, confusion wrinkling her brow. The littlest shift in her expression hinted that she was beginning to understand. Maybe, just maybe, it was time to set aside the show and embrace the humanity in the room. Mia took a shaky breath, forcing herself to sit up straighter, despite the fear clouding her features. I can't let this ruin everything, she murmured, attempting to gather her composure, glancing at Lily. I'm not the only one who needs this day to be special. See? Lily gestured towards Mia, her voice echoing through the murmurs. It's not about the party, it's about Mia. It's about how we choose to connect, to care. Slowly, others began to rally around, forming a circle of empathy around Mia. A man knelt beside her, a warm smile breaking through his worried eyes. You're not alone. We're right here with you, he whispered, his gentle tone like a balm. The event planner's arms unfolded slightly. Maybe witnessing people coming together was softer than standing alone in the chaos. Maybe it sparked something inside her. I can call for more help, she finally said, her voice quiet, uncertainty rustling through her words. Yes. Lily exclaimed, relief rushing through her. That's a great start. We'll figure this out together. Even though her words were intended for the planner, they wrapped around the crowd, reinforcing their bond. Hope bent the mood like the softest spring breeze. Mia's breathing steadied as the medic reassured her, once the paramedics arrive, you'll be in good hands. You're already doing so well. He smiled, and something inside Mia flickered back to life. Yet, just as peace seemed to settle, a voice broke through the newfound harmony. What about the party? What about the guests? We can't just waste the day on this. The man who had cried out before was still listless with confrontation, his demeanor hardening again under the pressure of chaos. It's not wasted, responded Lily swiftly. It's transformed. Look around. We've turned this moment into something meaningful. Let us not slip back into indifference. The murmurs of discontent started to fade. People were beginning to understand that the gathering had morphed into a challenge of empathy, forging connections amidst the chaos. But as laughter faded and connections deepened, a new weight settled over Lily's heart, a very real fear that this fragile alliance could unravel as quickly as it formed. Did they have the strength to hold on to this moment? Could they foster a culture of compassion, even for those who were still grappling with their own emotions? Just then, Mia's eyes darted to the entrance. Wait, she whispered, her voice almost lost in the sea of shifting energy. Do you see that? Someone is here. All eyes turned to where she was pointing, and dread swept through Lily as she saw two grim figures standing at the doorway. Were they here to escalate the chaos or to help? Her heart raced as she stepped forward, ready to confront whatever was waiting. Would this moment of unity hold, or was it set to face its biggest test yet? The air thickened with uncertainty as the two figures stepped further into the room. Lily squinted in the fading light, trying to read their intentions. One was tall, broad-shouldered, his expression a mask of determination. The other, a woman with a clipboard clutched tightly to her chest, looked nervous but intensely focused. "Hey! You can't just barge in here." The man who had been vocal earlier shouted. He pointed an accusatory finger toward them, as if implicating them for the disarray that had unfolded. "Wait." Lily's voice broke through the mounting tension. "Let them speak. If they're here, it could mean something important." Mia leaned forward, seemingly more curious than afraid. The tall man spoke first, his voice deep and calm. "We're with the emergency services, and we heard there was a situation. We can assess if anyone needs medical attention." The woman beside him nodded vigorously, her eyes darting between the crowd and the stillness enveloping Mia. "And we can help coordinate everything else too, if you'll let us. We know how to make this work." Lily felt the hope surge within her again. "Okay, let us get organized then. We need to ensure everyone is taken care of, Mia most of all." As they began to collaborate, forming a loose plan, the crowd's defenses slowly melted. The atmosphere shifted from fearful to cooperative, like clay beings molded into something new. Mia looked at Lily, her eyes wide, uncertainty mixing with gratitude. Slowly, the medic returned, kneeling beside her once more. "You're doing great, Mia. Just a little longer, and help is on the way." There was a warmth in his presence, a lighthouse shining through a storm, but then, the tall man stepped back, catching Lily's attention again. "Excuse me, ma'am," he said to the event planner. "Can we also get a list of guests who might need assistance? We want to ensure that everyone feels safe." The planner nodded, finally shedding her aloof demeanor. She looked around, and Lily could see how realization dawned on her. This wasn't just a party gone wrong, it was a moment to support one another, to stand together. Suddenly, a faint cry echoed from the back of the room. A little girl, clutching a half-eaten cupcake, looked distressed. "Mommy!" she wailed, searching for her parents who had shifted to help Mia. The crowd's attention diverted immediately. Children were crying, tears streaming down parents' faces as they desperately scanned for their loved ones. The panic crept back into the air, roiling through the connection they had worked hard to establish. Lily felt a piercing instinct, a longing to shield those around her from any further anguish. "Let us bring everyone together. If we form small groups and keep an eye out for each other, we can calm the fears." Before she could finish, the two figures shifted into action. The tall man and the woman split off, directing individuals to calm others, search for parents, and find reassurance in the chaos. They transformed the atmosphere with purpose, their energy contagious. Just as some semblance of organization began to settle, Lily noticed Mia's expression change again. There was a flicker of sadness behind her eyes, something that compelled Lily to ask, "Mia, what is it? Talk to us." Mia inhaled sharply and looked around. I didn't just want this day to be special for me," she whispered, vulnerability exposing itself through her voice. "I wanted it to be about connection. And now, we might not even make it out of this okay." "Hey, listen," Lily said, stepping closer. "We are okay. Everyone is okay, even if we're scared. We just have to hold on to each other." The noise of the crowd dimmed slightly as they listened, wondering if perhaps they could find strength in their collective worry. Just then, the loud clatter echoed behind them, as another table tipped over, sending decorations and drinks cascading to the floor. The extra noise shifted the mood, forcing everyone to focus again on the reality of the moment. But it also lit a fire in Lily. She could feel the weight of the world pressing them down, yet every heartbeat drummed with determination. What if we took this chance and turned it into something powerful? She proposed, searching their faces. What if we all shared something personal? Something that connects us? Mia blinked, the fear in her eyes swirling with newfound hope. "You mean like stories?" "Yes. Stories. Let us open up to one another. Let us make this day truly special. Right here and right now." Her words hung in the air, poised to spark another shift. But before any response could come, all eyes drifted back to the door, where another unexpected presence slipped through. The crowd grew tense again. Who was it now, and what would unfold next? The figure stepping through the door caught everyone off guard. It was a young woman, her hair tousled and clothes slightly disheveled, as if she had just run a marathon. The crowd fell silent, all eyes fixed on her, hoping that perhaps she carried news, or if they dared to dream a solution. "Sorry I'm late," she gasped, taking in the scene. "I got caught in traffic, and then well, I heard the sirens and just had to come." There was a mix of urgency and concern in her voice. One of the parents, a dad wearing a party hat slightly askew, stepped forward. "Do you know where everyone else is? Is everyone okay?" The woman shook her head. "I'm not sure, I left a friend at the last venue, and she was still pushing through, but we need to stay together, right?" Her eyes darted around the room, searching for familiar faces. "Mia!" Lily shouted, as she recognized the girl's frantic expression. "That's Mia's friend. We need to help her." The atmosphere shifted once more. It felt like a lifeline was thrown into the turbulent sea of uncertainty. Mia's face lit up at the mention of her friend. "Jamie! Thank goodness you're here." She stretched her arms toward her, but Jamie's expression shifted to one of stark concern. "Mia, we need to regroup. There are so many people who are scared." And she hesitated, swallowing hard as she looked at the crowd. "I heard about what happened, and we need to make sure everyone can connect, just like you've been saying." Lily stepped close, her voice determined. "Yes. Stories, Jamie. Let us share who we are. If we stand together, we can ease the fear." A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd. Jamie's timid nod encouraged others to speak as well. It felt like a dam was breaking, allowing light to seep into the darkness of anxiety. One by one, people began to share pieces of themselves. A grandmother spoke of the joy of her grandchildren. A teenager admitted his dreams of becoming a filmmaker. The little girl with the cupcake, still searching for her mother, called out her favorite flavor, prompting giggles among the weary listeners. Mia joined in, her voice trembling at first, but growing steadier as she shared how this party was meant to symbolize a new chapter in her life, the hope to connect with those she loved the most. As her words flowed, she looked around, seeing nods of understanding, smiles emerging amid tears. The atmosphere shifted. No longer were they just a frightened group, but a community bound together by shared stories, highlighting human connection. But just as they began to feel empowered, an older man, holding a crumpled tissue in his hand, spoke up. "What if we don't make it out of this place?" His voice quaked, echoing through their hearts and the doubts they had concealed behind feigned cheer. Lily stepped forward, her heart pounding. "That's where we find our strength. Even if fear is real, so is hope. We can't control everything, but we can decide how we face each moment." Her words felt like a warm embrace, and the crowd began to nod, and then, like thunder signaling a storm, the door swung open again. This time, the air shifted sharply, the energy in the room waning as they turned to see who stood there, a shadowy figure framed against the brighter lights inside. What was this new arrival? And what impact would they have on the fragile connection the group had built? The door swung with a creak, and in walked a girl drenched in rain, hair plastered to her forehead. Clenching a soaked duffel bag against her chest, she scanned the room, breathing heavily. It was Jamie's old friend, Kathy, a face familiar yet far away. "I'm here," she shouted suddenly, her voice cracking with a mix of urgency and adrenaline. Mia gasped, surprise lighting up her eyes. "Kathy! You made it!" The crowd watched, a mixture of confusion and relief on their faces. "What happened?" Lily urged, stepping forward. She felt the weight of hope surge again, intertwining with tension. Kathy caught her breath, cheeks flushed. "There was an accident on the road. I tried to get here as fast as I could. I heard sirens and, well, everyone needs to stick together." A forceful realization washed over the crowd. They were not just thrown together by an accident, they were becoming something more, an undeniable family forged through shared emotions. "We were just sharing stories," Lily said, desperately trying to keep the momentum. "It helps to connect us. Why don't you share something, too?" Kathy blinked, her vulnerability raw like a fresh bruise. I never thought I'd be able to say this, but I lost my job last month. I felt completely alone." The murmurs in the crowd hushed as she continued, "I've struggled to find my way. It made me think about all the people who might be feeling the same way. I just want to feel seen." A wave of understanding swept through heads nodded, and Lily could feel the thread of their stories weaving tighter. Jamie spoke up, "You're not alone in this. We all have our battles. It's why we're here, together." Through the audience, fragments of life emerged, stories of resilience sprouted from unexpected places. A father spoke of losing his home, but waking up every day determined to create a better tomorrow for his kids. The elderly woman shared how her late husband taught her about love that transcends even the darkest days. As these stories poured forth, their truths fortified the bond. It was no longer just about Mia or the injured moment they were fighting for each other. Lily could feel the energy shift, hearts throbbing in unison as they collectively embraced vulnerability without judgment. No longer merely observers, the members of this gathering had transformed. Voices of support urged those still hesitating to speak up, and the space filled with acknowledgement that could cut through the coldness of indifference, but then the door creaked open again, revealing the event planner, her demeanor now tempered. I had no idea," she began tentatively, stepping forward, humility changing her posture. "I couldn't see beyond my own expectations. I see now, this party, it's not about a mere gathering. It's about people. Connections. You each matter." In that moment, the unkempt atmosphere came to life with understanding. The individuals cheered her courage to stand before them, unguarded and open. "I want to help," she added, her voice full of sincerity. "If we can still celebrate, let us do it together, truly together." Lily's heart swelled. This was the moment she had imagined, but it was even greater than she ever dared to hope. All along, through each broken laughter and tear, they were mending the collective tapestry of their stories. Together, the mismatched crowd reshaped their gathering into a real celebration. One of strength, connection, and understanding. They pulled up chairs wherever they could find them, and together formed circles of shared laughter, commitment, and care. Kathy led the charge, "Let us see stories come to light. Allow us to stand together, to turn this chaos into a masterpiece." With music drifting back into their lives gradually, the renewed energy unspooled potential across hearts. They lingered not just over failed dreams but turned towards hope, a reminder of their resilience as they shared smiles and stories, building each other up as they nurtured the seed of transformation sprouting around them, and as the final notes of the night echoed like a sunrise through their hearts, Lily felt a sense of triumph. Together, they had broken barriers, relinquished their facades, and embraced one another's truths. So the story didn't just reach its end, it paved the way for the future, where love, empathy, and understanding thrived. United in their humanity, they forged bonds far stronger than any elite event could ever encapsulate. In the warm glow of connection, Lily took a deep breath, filled with the realization that this moment was just the beginning. Now, let us capture this beauty. You need to subscribe now to the channel to witness more incredible transformations like this. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like right now to feed the algorithm and keep these stories alive. I need you to comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. Your voice matters. And don't wait not even one more second. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let us spread this message far and wide.